Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target Morning Brief. And if the world wasn't crazy enough with all of the Wall Street Bets act that's going on Reddit, last night at 2:22 a.m., Elon Musk decides that he's going to add hashtag Bitcoin to his bio on Twitter. And subsequently, the Bitcoin jumps like 25%. Now it's settled in from that, but I propose to you, could Elon Musk be the new roaring kitty? And when you hear the term roaring kitty, if you're like, what are you talking about? Well, yesterday we had the Q&A session. Wednesday we had the breakdown of what's going on with Wall Street Bets. Well, if you haven't heard or seen the name in the news, roaring kitty is Keith Patrick Gill, a 34-year-old advisor from Massachusetts that has been the ringleader of all this. He has a YouTube channel called The Roaring Kitty. He on Reddit is Deep Effing Value is his Reddit call sign. Evidently, this is from CNBC this morning. Was kind of the ringleader. He was the one that said buy and hold on for dear life. And every a million posts follow that says, well, as long as Roaring Kitty's in, I'm in. So anyhow, it appears that this guy is, at least at first glance, has done everything legal. There's been some talking this morning. Obviously, this is going to get a pretty hard look. But $44 million is what he's posting that he made on, I think, Wednesday. Thursday, he lost like 14 million. But he's like, still up some 30 million in this trade. Crazy, right? I mean, those are some real day trades. But why even bring this up with Elon Musk and why this is fascinating is you look at, the power of Roaring Kitty and Keith Patrick Gill, here, a couple million followers on Wednesday and now up to 4 million in Reddit. There's probably 5 million on that page this morning. Anyhow, small army. And then you have Elon Musk, and Elon Musk, could he do the same thing? And Elon's been, or I should probably say Mr. Bust, since he's mega billionaire, richest guy in the world. But since he has kind of punked the SEC before and done all kinds of things about funding secured, stock price 420 back in the day, if you remember any of those stories, could Elon Musk simply through a couple of tweets drive Bitcoin to $500,000? I will tell you that if he wanted to today, that fast is how he could do it. And he's got, of course, the buying power to start the insanity. So anyhow, if you don't have Bitcoin, buy some today. And GBTC is fine. It's one of our day trades long. That's why you see it in the chat over here. So let me hit that chat again. So several longs. I have Wall Street Bet longs for you today. I've got one short out there for a medical name, and then of course the Elon Musk long from tweeting about Bitcoin. So anyhow, we've got a great show for you today to peel back all of that stuff. If you're catching us on replay, thanks for subscribing. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you do get notified every time I go put out a replay. If you want to join us live, I think it's a lot of fun. I'm here every day. $25 a month is a good investment in yourself to learn more about investing. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everyone. Here is our flow for the day. Make sure that you have your Q&A window set up and your chat window set up with all attendees selected. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence before acting upon anything you hear today. So more disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. Chat room, thank you so much. Yeah, buy Bitcoin. You heard that correct. Remember, we moved in last, week and a half ago or so. 31,000 was where I finally pulled the trigger. You don't go crazy with the cheese whiz here, but I mean, you can you can put, I mean, depending on your portfolio size, you know, a couple percent of your portfolio into Bitcoin. And honestly, I think literally uh, today could be a day where Elon Musk could drive Bitcoin to 100K. I mean, when you look at the insanity of what's going on, for somebody with actual power like that to be able to say, you know, hashtag Bitcoin, and the exact tweet, I wrote it down, I didn't mention earlier. He said, in retrospect, I saw this morning, I didn't know what he was talking about, but it had like, you know, 10 million likes or something. In retrospect, it was inevitable. So that was his exact words, 2:22 in the morning, which I don't know, that time frame kind of makes you think that, kicking back after a long day. I don't know what mental state you're in at 2:22 in the morning. I'm in a sleep state at that time. But good on him to have the epiphany, I guess, that in retrospect, it was inevitable. Pretty strong words from the richest guy in the world. And what if he doesn't have a big position, which I don't know that he has, but what if today he decides to buy a big position? We're not going to be talking about GameStop this weekend. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. But yeah, that's conjecture. That's my guess of what's going to happen. It's already up. Let's see, it was GBTC gapped up from 33 to 40 this morning. So we'll check it here in a minute. All right, so let's get back on target for today. Mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Yeah, it's grow our money today. Is Elon Musk the next roaring kitty? Again, if you missed the open, I peeled that back, but he certainly could be, right? If he wants to move this thing, he can move it. I think he can move it legally, right? As far as if you've been following the legal story behind Roaring Kitty and the team, are they doing anything illegal? Not necessarily, even though this guy is a registered financial advisor. As long as he's putting a disclaimer out there, and as long as he's talking honestly about the why to buy GameStop and why to buy these other things, and he's legal. If he's saying things like we are taking down the hedge funds, well, then that's manipulation. So I don't know how savvy this guy is, but then again, he just pulled in $44 million 2 days ago. So, I have to give him like some savvy cred for that. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Next, the question of the day is how to short a stock, and talk a little about short covering. We'll talk about that at the end. I can explain that. It's like options. I can explain it 10 times and people are like, yep. I tell you, probably you don't understand it until you hear it a good 10 plus times. And you really, just like anything else, you can't really explain it until you can teach somebody else. So it's a complex topic, but how to short a stock, we'll get into that. And some of the negativity with Robinhood, man, they got slammed yesterday. I picked up a couple of accounts. People had Robinhood accounts and like, I just want away from that firm. Okay, that works. They made some choices yesterday, and choices have, just like everybody in the room, your choices have consequences, right? So they made choices, and I don't think a lot of people agreed. All right, our flow today: long, short, open, short, long, mark review, headline review. Those are the names we're going to look at. The first four are the manipulation names from Wall Street Bets. Volatility is on the rise because options. A lot of people are actually learning about options. One of the hedge fund managers said, it's pretty funny, he coaches a basketball team, and he's like explaining, because we spent 20 minutes after basketball today with some high school kids explaining how to buy options. It's like, holy crap. Yeah, okay. Good on them. But it's kind of funny. And then somebody else was talking about getting, financial advice from their nanny, that sort of thing. If you remember, if you flash back to like 2000, for those that weren't 1 year old or whatever, or not even born yet, I know I have some younger folks in here, but yeah, this is back when, you would take your taxi. Okay, I probably have to explain what those even are, but you would take a taxi, and your taxi cab driver had stock tips. It's like, hello world, market about to crash, right? That was the big sign. Ashton Kutcher got on TV and started talking to individual stocks. It's like, oh no, this whole thing's going south fast. And it did. Not making that call here, but I'm saying it is, when you get everybody involved, it's interesting, if you will. And the last one we'll take a look at is GBTC. That is that Greystone Bitcoin trust. That's how I'm invested in Bitcoin. I have no intention on opening a coin wallet or whatever. And remember, in the 132 character password, I will let somebody else do that for me, and I will ride the wave. All right, we'll do some day trading, in the room over here. Let me post that again for the late joiners. There's our real longs, our Wall Street bet longs, our Elon Musk long, and our one short is J&J, who had a drug out this morning and that said was only 72% effective on the vaccine. It's like, really? Taking things that are 72% effective? I think most people would just go, pass, right? All right, contingencies and academic resources are standard. Let's go over to TD Ameritrade and take a look at where we are in the market. Again, looking long, had a big down day. When was that? Let's see, Wednesday, 2 days ago, 2% off. Some people freaked out. Most didn't. I didn't hear from many people, so that's good. That means, yeah, motion of the ocean, thunderstorm in paradise. Who cares about 2%? You know, I mean, I care, but it's all part of it, right? And then we bounce back, excuse me, pretty hard today. Today the futures are in the red, but it is trending more positive. Here's the 5-day on the SPY. So you can kind of see, here's Wednesday, that big sell-off. Thursday, it was looking great, like made it all back, right? And then, no, let's not. And then today's kind of been all over the map, but certainly this morning, since I've been up, it's been trending higher. So we'll see if it gets back to even before the open. For our day trading charts, I have, this is GameStop and AMC. Again, I have these out on a 2.5-day look, so you can see how crazy. The range in GameStop yesterday alone during market hours was 483 to 110. Crazy. I have no reason to believe that that's not going to continue. I know I said 2 negatives there. I think it will continue. There's better English for my English police out there. Here's your Bitcoin off to the right. Kind of zooming in there. You know, here's the market open. It's just like boom. If you're awake at the market open, which is 4 o'clock Eastern, you saw Bitcoin go all the way up to 40, or the GBTC go all the way up to 40. So interesting day, I bet, in Bitcoin, and we shall see. All right, let's go over to CNBC. Here you can see this is not the normal page I land on for y'all, but this is the Elon Musk, man. Good on you. So there's a big story there. You can find on CNBC if you want the full details there. It's kind of interesting and kind of fun. And I'm in Bitcoin, so kind of fun making money too. All right, there's the Dow extends losses after J&J says vaccine less effective. So again, ticker J&J short if you want to get set up for that. I think that's not good. And their panel down here is the number one. Highlighting negative news on CNBC is not how you want to start your day for your company. All right, let's look across Europe. Everything in the red across Europe, Asia, everything in the red. No wonder we're in the red here. All right, here are our numbers from yesterday. Tech was really left out of yesterday. So, your portfolio could have been in the red yesterday. The big names, the big tech names of Palantir, K-Web, Apple, they were all down. So again, I was in the red after a big green day. I was like, don't like that. But it worked the other day when Apple was up and the whole market was down. So here's volatility. We talked about this for a while ago, back when it was down in the high teens. Now it's up at 30. I think the GameStop and WallStreetBets thing is driving that higher. Bonds up fractionally. Oil just fine in the range there. Gold, silver popped this morning, and I don't know why. There must have been some big buyer this morning. I missed a headline there on why silver's up. Here's your Bitcoin number, up 11%, up to 38,000 on Bitcoin. Again, we were in at 31. Can you buy it here? It's kind of a close your eyes, hold your nose, and buy. What you're believing in here, if you buy some Bitcoin today, especially off of what I've been saying, you are believing a lot of things. Okay, but the number one thing I will tell you is, if Bitcoin were to drop to 20,000 tomorrow, would you turn around and sell? If that's the case, do not buy it today. If you want to participate, you have to close your eyes, hold your nose, strap into the roller coaster, and take the flipping ride. It could go all over the place. If it was 40,000 a day and it goes to 80,000, you're holding. Okay, you're not selling. You're not trying to scalp this. If you want to participate, get a little bit of GBTC, and you're just going to let it go. You got to hold it, okay, to get paid. You don't want to double your money. You're looking for the big move, long-term investor style. So that's my take on Bitcoin. All right, here's the headlines of the day. 66% effective. It's like, really? Come on, man. You can't be throwing those type of numbers around. I mean, if it's the truth, you got to throw them around. But I would certainly have tried to whisper that out instead of shouting it from the rooftops and bragging about it. GameStop up 100% this morning. Okay, Robinhood restricts crypto trading. Okay, Robinhood, y'all needed some public affairs training. So when I was in the military, and as you move higher in rank, about the time you get to be a major, you start taking public affairs training. And it depends on your job, but if you could end up on camera they came in and said, okay, here's, how you have talking points. Here's, no matter what the question is, your answer is one of four things. And they were going to grill you and stuff like that. The folks that are leading Robinhood have not had public affairs training, or if they did, they slept through it, because the CEO was on CNBC this morning, and he was saying all the wrong things. Holy cow, was he botching that interview? It's like, whoo, find somebody to talk for you if you can't speak the language, and not good how he was trying to explain this. Now, all his points are valid. It doesn't matter. It was a presentation. I think it's just rough. And yeah, now into crypto trading. You want to really piss off the millennial team? Wow. Okay, good on you, Robinhood. Yeah, they had to tap a credit line for $1 billion. It's a $12 billion company. So when you say credit line, that's like 8% of their total business. They had to borrow yesterday. What? Not good, kids. Not good. All right, let's take a look real quick at the GameStop ride. So there's the range yesterday, and again, just kind of crazy how this stuff is going down. Let's take a look over at Schwab real quick. Go to the main layout here. Again, the names. Let's get GameStop in there. So when you look at these, the GameStop, the AMCs, the Express, and the costs. All right. I don't know whether these are going to get run higher or lower, but if you are a trader and you want to sit there all day long and look to scalp the momentum up and down, they do go on these big runs. When you pull the chart, it seems like, wait for it to peak and then start to come down and short it. Wait for it to drop, and then go back long. Not recommending you do that with your time, but that's pretty predictable patterns. Volatility, I promised to talk about that. It's bounced off of around a 16 level, up close to 20. And then this is supposed to be Bitcoin here. Closed at 33. It's up at 40 right now. So we'll see how it goes. If you want to turn around and take that long at the open for a trade, you can do that. So let's set up for our trades. Over here, going back to TD Ameritrade. Both TD Ameritrade and Schwab closed or they restricted trades yesterday too. But they did it in kind of a mature manner. They sent out this public release like, hey, we're restricting trades they gave like all the reasons, right? And they got in front of it. So it wasn't just kind of a, boom, see it on CNBC kind of announcement. So let's look at BIIB long. We're going to have Pfizer next to it, long, and then J&J short. Actually, let's put Bitcoin long here, GBTC, because I think there's going to be a chance to take that higher. All right, we are 45 seconds to the open, so I'm going to clean this down to 1 minute charts. So you're used to seeing what you normally see. BIIB is the biotech index fund. I don't normally trade index funds, but other than J&J, there was a lot of great news out this morning. All right, give me a second and we'll get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you on the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. All the way to the left, we have the SPY. That's the S&P 500 market on a 1 minute chart. Then we have 2 longs, which is BIIB and GBTC, and then 1 short all the way to the right in J&J. So get ready for the opening bell. There's our opening bell. The BIIB is a biotech. You can see it's gapped up 8%. Bitcoin's up 16% off the Elon Musk tweet. We're going to take that long. This is out of my normal range, but I believe that this story is going to carry some weight. So you're thinking of a 50-cent stop if we can get it here. And again, I want to watch this action. I think I want it to come up to around 320, 39.20, excuse me, before we take it long. If it drops a little more, that's great. You can see big volume in at the bottom. If we go 39.20, we're going to have a 20, we'll use a 30-cent stop. Again, 39.20 long. So I'll get the arrow in here because I think this is going to hit. So again, 39.20, we're waiting for that entry point. Okay, I'm going to make a little tick mark right here. We'll make this longer once we're in the trade. But again, we're waiting for 39.20. We're going to go down to 38.90 is going to be the stop that we're looking for on the downside. Again, if it continues down, then we will reset the game plan here. All right, J&J is crawling back up out of its short, so I really don't like that at all. So let's put Pfizer in here. I don't think that short's going to work. Pfizer was gapping up earlier. Boy, that's had a kind of hard sell-off. So, all right, disregard the entry here on GBTC. We're going to have to make some adjustments to that. BIIB, there's a tough point with a 300. We're going into this GBTC trade. We're just waiting for it to fall. The more it falls, the better off we are, actually. It's just going to affect our stop is what's going to happen. All right, what other name to look at? Let's see, from the AM for the Wall Street Bets long, Fubo was one that Fubo TV. See the action here. We're just letting this go. Once it bottoms, then we're going to take a look where the low of the day is, and we're going to pick our entry point going back long is the game plan there. Whew, I'm going to stripe down in Fubo TV like right while we're looking at. So that's your Wall Street Bets stuff. Boom, the 7,000 shares, 7,000 shares, and then 350 shares. Is that Roaring Kitty posting? Probably. One of you probably has this Wall Street Bets up. You can tell, put it in the chat real time if you happen to have it pulled up. All right. So not going to touch Fubo TV. Let's see what Nokia is doing. Man, millions and millions of shares of Nokia. All right. The other one that's is a pot stock. It's down at it's a penny stock, so be careful. This is one we looked at a little bit yesterday. This gives you the ability to buy a ton of shares because of the price point. So if you're interested in that, you could hop in on this. Again, I would be looking at taking it long. Low of the day is down here at 82. I'd give yourself to 80. So you could enter at 85 with a 5-cent stop, and then your exit point would be right at the $1 mark. So not calling that for you, not confident in this trade. But if you want to take this long, enter long at 85 once it hits it. And then 80 stop, and then the dollar stop to the upside is what I'd call there. All right, so the low of the day, 37.50 here. This is going to snap back. Gosh, we're going to have to give ourselves a bigger stop than I want. We won't be able to cover the low of the day. 37.50. Oh, I want to take it at 38 going back up, but boy, that's going to be tough. Let's go 38.10. 38.10 going long. You got to wait for it to hit it, and it'll be a 60-cent stop. Don't care for that, but we are covering the low of the day. So again, woo, 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 woo. So it did have a print down here at 37. We're not even worried about that. So we're going to go 38.10 is what we're looking at. If it doesn't hit it, don't enter it. If it stripes down past 37.50, I don't put much weight into this. This is one tick mark way down here. There's a name for that, and I can't remember what it was, a false tick or something, that a trade may or may not have executed down there at that level. I thought it had to, right? But when I was in a different trading room years ago, she explained how that's possible to have a false tick there. All right, looks like this is not going to cooperate. We are, what, 6 minutes in? I still like the 37.50 level if it holds, and of course it's not going to right there. So that, remember, if something's bouncing off of something, that means there's a big buyer right here. So once the buyer runs out, then it tends to strike down through it. But if it holds, that puts a good solid bottom in. So, all right, looks like we're not going to be able to get in on this. When this reverses, I do think it reverses hard, though. I guess the overall market's selling off. Maybe that's the issue here. So, all right, one last chance to get in this. is if it goes higher here, we're going to enter at 38 with a 37.40 stop. So it'd have to come up to 38. So we're looking at for our entry point. Again, that's a 60-cent stop. If it doesn't hit it in this minute, then I'm going to move on. Well, sandal thing's going crazy over here. This is probably a terrible company, but those are the ones that have been running higher, it seems. All right, getting some positive momentum here. Again, we're waiting for 38. We will be taking it long if it hits. Don't take it if it doesn't hit. I see the market off to the left kind of striping down there. So, all right, we'll let this minute close out. If we don't get it, we don't get it. Okay, not in it. I'm not going to watch it. If you want to take it long 38 with a 60-cent stop, then that's on you. Let's take a look at what's going on around the world. So Bitcoin is up 12%, Moderna up 10%, Fubo up 10%. Again, those were some of the trades that we talked about. Clickstream up a little. Palantir bounced off of yesterday. Palantir opened up 10% yesterday and then ended up in the red by like 6 or 7%. So it's kind of moving all over the place. BioNTech, again, is another vaccine name. Workhorse has been in play lately. Let's show you that chart. Again, we talked about it a lot from the Postal Service perspective. Again, we're waiting still on this big Postal Service contract that they're supposed to get. But this was Biden right here on, what's this? Back it up. That's Wednesday. So Tuesday, President Biden started talking about redoing the entire federal fleet and making them electric vehicles. And it's just like, whoa, right? I mean, that's a big, bold move. That's probably a decade, right? When you think of how long that would take to implement, unless you're just going to scrap what you have. But, you know, if you phase it in, it's probably taking a decade. You know, that was the big move higher from basically, what is this, 26 all the way up to a top of 40. Could you get in here? Yeah, it's one of those, you can get in here, but you got to believe, and it may not happen. So this federal electric vehicle thing may not happen for 6 months, may not happen for a year and a half. The Postal Service contract, Trump delayed it. I don't know how that gets back up to the top of the agenda, but it's going to happen. We just don't know when, right? So if you buy it here, you could be early. So you just realize that. If you're early, what does that mean? Stock sells off. It doesn't crash, but it just sells from 34. You know, every day that goes by that nobody's talking about this stuff, it'll just leak all the way down to like 30 and maybe below 30. But the day it hits, that's when it's going to jump another, $10 a share. So I'd rather be early than a few minutes late, which is good for investing. But again, realize you may be staring at it a while with it not doing anything, which can be frustrating and annoying. So if you buy into it, you got to hold it. Kind of like the Bitcoin thing. If you buy into it, you just got to believe and hold that daggone thing to make sure that you get paid if you were right. All right, let's see what's on the downside here. Overall, the market's down about, Dow's down over 1%. Everything, S&P is down almost 1%, and then NASDAQ 0.75 of a point. These are options up at the top. Mind Medicine's a psychedelic name. CLXPF, I think, is also a psychedelic name. I think that's a Canadian firm. I can't remember what it is offhand. Raytheon, Pershing Square Tontine Holdings. That's Bill Ackman's SPAC. Disney down a little bit. So lots of names in the red. Nothing huge, though, really. You don't have that big, 10, 15, 20% in the red sort of name. Where'd Bitcoin go? Oh, there it is. As you say, what? Did it really fall off into the red? So it's 11%. Let's check back on. That's not it. There it is. Still didn't trigger yet. If you're waiting for that to go higher, maybe waiting a long time. But I think once it does finally build this bottom in here, I think you're going to see it go higher. But we're not going to spend any more time on it. Okay, let's go to the question of the day. Okay, so here's what is short selling. So remember, the mechanics of this is you're betting against the market, right? So you borrow the shares from somebody, and we'll get to that in a minute. You borrow the shares and then you sell them, okay, at whatever the current price is. And then you make sure I have the right screen shared out. It does, nope, I don't. So let's fix that. There we go. So short selling, you should be seeing the Investopedia page here. So you borrow the shares and you sell them. Okay. How that shows up on your statement or on your app or however you're monitoring your portfolios, it shows up as a negative. So if you sold 10 shares, we'll just say Apple short, you would go in your broker and on the, your ticker, instead of buying long, buy 10 shares of Apple. Are you sure? Yes. Which limit market, whatever, the standard order entry, boom. And you buy it. Same thing when it says underneath buy, it says sell short. So you just put a 10 sell short in there, enter, same thing, limit market, whatever, enter. And when that goes in, that shows up as a -10, right? Shares of Apple, it shows up in red. Now, if the stock drops, you will be making money. If the stock continues higher, you will be losing money. So it's the inverse. So sometimes it's kind of like options. You can get into some inverse math. So you kind of have to know what you're looking at. But what you're really doing when you do that is you're borrowing from the broker pool. So each brokerage, Schwab, TDA, Robinhood, they have a pool of these shares. And when something goes into play, they will go out and buy the shares for you to turn around and borrow it and short it. And you're like, well, who loses money when that happens? It's like, well, the brokerage does. And they're like, well, does the brokerage care? It's like, well, not really, because honestly, they don't know if you're right when you short a stock. You could just as easily work against you. But when you borrow those shares, if you don't hold them overnight, if you just day trade, then there's no fee. It's free. You just borrow the shares from the pool, you put them back in the pool by the end of the day, and you say, hey, cool, we're done, right? And that's what we do in the room when we short. If you are going to hold a short overnight, you will start accruing a margin interest, if you will. And it's around 7%. Some brokerages are lower or higher on that. And that's an annual 7%, not like 7% that night. So it's going to be fractionally a little bit of money. But while you've borrowed those shares, okay, you also have to pay the brokerage the dividend, because you've borrowed them and sold them. But when the dividend comes to make the math all work, you actually owe the brokerage the dividend, so they can turn around and pay the dividend out, or in that case, since they own the shares, collect the dividend. I can do the same thing at Afterburner Financial. I'm allowed to have a pool account where I just have stocks in it, and I can choose to loan them out to clients. I'm not going to do any of that from a compliance perspective. That'd make me miserable. But they don't care. If you want to borrow shares, they get money for you borrowing it, just like the bank doesn't care if you borrow the money. So doesn't care what you do with it, but you got to pay it back. So if you borrow 10 shares of Apple, you owe 10 shares of Apple. Now, if you're using margin and you're a pattern day trader and you're using 4X leverage, at some point in time, you could hit a margin call where the brokerage can go, no, I'm going to start selling your other holdings to cover your short. So that's getting into a different topic. But the short covering is when, so say you shorted those 10 shares of Apple, and son of a gun, there goes Apple screaming higher. Well, the higher it goes, the more you lose. When you buy a stock, if you buy any stock and it goes to zero, that's the most you can lose. Well, in a short, if the stock doubles or triples, you can lose 200, 300, 400 times your money, 400% of your money. So that's why these margin calls are in place. So that's what happens when short's starting to get burned. It's not just like your stock dropping 90%. I mean, it can go up. I mean, when you watch GameStop go from 100 to 500 in one day, I mean, it's 5X, right? So, I mean, the losses can be huge. And that's why these people have to turn around and buy these shares on the open market and then return them to the broker that they borrowed them from. So that's what's going on. Now, when you look at your ticker, you don't see any of that, right? You just go short Apple 10 shares, enter, then you watch it, and then you're like, okay, buy 10 shares of Apple, enter. And you don't really see all the behind the scenes of what's going on from an accounting piece. So, but if you've ever been burned on a short, I mean, the losses can add up a lot quicker than, in a normal long type market. So probably not the best explanation there, but it's a complex topic. Read some more. This is Investopedia short selling. Read more on it if you're interested, or especially if you want to do it, you kind of do need to know what you're doing, other than just betting against the stock or the market. So, all right, good topics today. We shall see. Where's Bitcoin at one last time? All the way down to 36. Man, that has sold off hard. So I was not right. It did not scream higher at the open, but you're getting a buying opportunity. Again, if you think this is a long-term thing, grab a chunk. So I do. I think it will get to six figures. I think it'll go up to 100,000, whether it's through manipulation or whatever. I do think it will eventually go higher. And the long-term story, 5, 10 years out, could it be at zero? Yeah, I think it could, like any currency, but we shall see. But so short term, though, I think the next move is higher. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. You guys have a good one. Thanks for joining in. Enjoy your weekend, and we will be